So, we want to thank everybody for coming out. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America, Subordinate Temple 12. We appreciate everybody coming out, and I am happy to see you all, and I hope you guys are happy to see us. We're glad to be here. This is our third class of the Ramadan. This is our third 10-day session. And this session is based on the last 10 days of Ramadan, which is the forgiveness from the hellfire, which is what we are discussing. Last Sunday, we spoke about the forgiveness and kind of into the forgiveness of the hellfire specifically. And we're going to try and move on that a little bit and one more thing in collusion with it. We're going to be looking into chapter 37 of our Quran here. That's the Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Holy Quran, in chapter 37. We're going to do a little reading and go through it. I'm going to start with number 1 in 37, and it says that vaunt not the body, because it was first formed, nor of thy brain, because therein thy soul resided. Is not the master of the house more honorable than its walls? The ground must be prepared before corn be planted. The potter must build his furnace before he can make his porcelain. And when we read that, it said, vaunt not the body. It's the so the display or the pushing up of the body or the admiration of the body, a lot of people be in awe of. And a lot of people, they seek to do that. They seek to be to place a lot of going on based upon their body. Some people go, hey, you know, I hire somebody because they look nice. Or some people go, hey, you know, I look good, so hey, I feel good. You know, all these things based upon your body. But he said, don't lift the body up to that. It said because it was first formed. Most people think, okay, the body was here and it was formed, so it has these things to deal with. And it says, nor of thy brain, because therein the soul resides. So they say, well, this is my soul, and then this is very important. You know what I'm saying? This is the most important thing. But he said, no, not even that. He said, is not the master of the house more honorable than its walls? Now, what would be the master of this particular situation that we got here? Not the body, not the soul. So who's the master of this body?
Spirit.
Spirit, right. Are we all in agreement with that? So it's not the body. You know, you can trim the body up. It can be nice looking. It can be it. It can achieve great things. But however, it is not the master. It is not the most honorable part that makes you up. So when we spoke last Sunday about that, we spoke about what makes up the body, so we know how to seek the mercy of Allah. If we don't know how to seek the mercy of Allah, we don't know what we made out of and what we're prone to, what we're drawn to, then we won't be able to seek any kind of mercy. We don't know what we're doing. So we need to know exactly what we're made out of and what we're drawn to, what our preposition is, and what things is going to basically draw us to things that we don't have no business doing. So we know here now, we're piggybacking on that. And it's telling us that the body, so don't lift the body to that extreme. And it said the soul, being that it's part of our brain, and we can reason and we can come up with some stuff. Still, don't even put that in that high of esteem. Isn't the one that masters all of that? Isn't that of more honor? So we look towards our spirit. Islam.
Mm-hmm.
So it says in 2, the ground must be prepared. So how are we going to get to this point? It said the ground must be prepared before corn be planted. Right? Can you get corn without tilling the ground? None of that.
No.
That's right. You know, and even if you took seeds and just threw them out there, you're going to have a very miserable crop. you know. But if you go through and till the ground and the soil and loosen it up and get the seed down in there where it can get a good germination and the heat can build up and moisture can build up and it sprout, we'll have a greater turnout. We'll have a much more plentiful and bountiful crop. So it says the ground must be prepared before corn be planted. And now the potter must build his furnace before he can make his porcelain. So how's he going to make this porcelain bowl or this porcelain statue or doll or anything of this nature without a furnace? And then it said it must be prepared. The furnace must be prepared, meaning that if the porcelain needs to melt at, let's say 700 degrees, but you only built your furnace is prepared to get up to 500 degrees, you was ill prepared to get the job done. Islam? So that is the nature of our conversation today. It's preparation. You know what preparation is and how preparation provides us with success. Islam, and that goes in conjunction with us in our present state in Islam. You might have to get another table. Yeah. So here again, and we're in 37, and we're going through that same kind of preparation to get ourselves in order. And I'm going to take time to create, to show you a couple of examples where preparation was being taken with Jesus, with other people and things of that nature, where we can look at it and take some kind of notes from it as to how we can go about our own life in preparation for success. That is, all right? So we're going to go to, now we just read 37, 1 and 2, leads us to preparation. And then, and the reason why we're going into that is because when you come in here, what is expected when you come in here? How do you come in here? What's the things that's on one's mind when they come to Sunday class, or when they come to Friday, when they come to the Holy Day service? What is on their mind, and what is the preparation, those steps that's taken to bring you to class on Sunday, to bring you to class on Friday, bring you to the Holy Day service on Friday? So when you come here, we asking for your very best. That's what we want. We want your very best. So that's why I'm up here. I'm up here to try to provide you with my very best. And then we want your very best in return. Who is we? The public at large, the world. They want your very best. Everybody wants your very best. Your children, your mother, your father, your siblings, your cousins. What do they want from you? Do they want half mediocre job? Or do they want your very best? Do they want some kind of affection? Or do they want your very best? They want a handshake or a hug? So we put it like that, you know, handshake, get on about your business. A hug is, hey, I got some love for you. I want to share some things, you know. So that's what we want. We want the very best. And we're here in the month of Ramadan to produce that, because it causes us to be able to be prepared. And we're going to get into that a little bit. So now we're going to go to chapter 2. Let's flip to chapter 2. And I'm going to read chapter 2 and 22 and 23 in chapter 2. That's going to be on page 6, towards the bottom of the page. And it goes, now love cannot be manifest until its way has been prepared. You see? So even love can't take place until its way has been prepared. So we're talking about preparation. So all things come through proper preparation. Islam? So it says its way has been prepared. And naught can rend the rock and bring down lofty hills and fill the valleys up, and thus prepare the way, but purity. So love had to be prepared. A way had to be prepared, and that way of such a gigantic proportion could only be done by purity. All right.
So then 23, but purity in life men do not comprehend. Now, can somebody look up comprehend? Because most of the time we have a what we might call an acceptable range of definition of a word. we got acceptable range of definitions, but sometimes we had to hone in on specifics. Say that's close enough. I know what you mean. But when we're dealing with, we trying to have forgiveness from the hellfire, then we need to be a little more specific, because you get, you're not in the center of the hellfire, but you just in the off part, you still may not be too happy, off in the hellfire. Anybody got that looked up?
It says grasp mentally and understand.
Grasp mentally. Anybody else got anything to add to that?
Stand in the midst of.
Is comprehend, standing in the midst of. Anybody else?
Include compromise.
So speak louder, please.
Include compromise compromise, about that, or encompass.
Okay, so right, it's to have this compromise, to have a comprehend, to come to a point of, like you say, grasping a particular point. You know what I'm saying? So if I comprehend something, then I am at that point cognizant of what you're speaking of, right? So we can continue the conversation. So it says here that but purity in life men do not comprehend. So purity is something that people don't quite grasp. So it's something that you don't quite get a hold on. So it's hard to continue the conversation with somebody about purity if they don't grasp it. They have no comprehension of it. And it says, and so it too must come in flesh. So for you to understand what happens is, with purity is, it also, as Jesus came to embody love, that John came to embody purity. And John was uncompromising with purity. He had the king had a second wife that was a first cousin, and at the time it was outlawed. And he wanted to have her as his wife. And he was like, no, that's not according to law. You can't do that. And that was the king. So the chances of being beheaded, and ultimately they was after him about that, But he was uncompromising about purity. So that's purity of action and purity of thought. But he said man can't comprehend. Now, yes, I know we've had these conversations before about purity. However, you was not prepared for it. Now you are prepared. You may ask why. Because Ramadan has brought you to a point of purity. It's cleansing you. And it brings you to a point that now you are prepared to hear certain things, and they will seat in you and take root. You see? So everything is according to preparation, and everything has a purpose for preparation, in preparation. Islam? So that's 21 and 22 of that, of chapter 2. If you're taking notes to go back and reread these, you will be on that. Now, we're going to go to 26, to number 26 in the same chapter. That's right at the bottom of the page. Now, it's saying that, and when the world is ready to receive, lo, Allah will send a messenger to open the book and copy from its sacred pages all the messages of purity and love. So what's the first? Will somebody read that first sentence up to that comma right there? Somebody read just right up to the comma right there.
And when the world is ready to receive.
And when the world is ready to receive. So when the world is prepared, not when you prepared, not when your pastor prepared, not when your imam prepared, not when your sheikh is prepared, but when the world is prepared. That's when this thing will be released, and it will be able to be, people will be cognizant, and they will be able to comprehend when the world has been prepared. So that gives you an inkling as to what is your job. What are you here for? Islam? Anybody know? To prepare the world. To prepare the world. So that's what you're doing. You stepping out here to prepare the world for the comprehension of purity. It's real simple. You know, we make it a lot more complicated. Hey, I want to go to hell. Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. You know, but it's a little bit more simplistic than that, because we're all gathered together, and you know, a lot of people get in hell. They're gonna drag you right with them. Islam. So, any questions on that? Any ideas, concepts concerning it? We got. We're gonna go to chapter 3, and I'm gonna keep on giving you some of these things, but we want to keep in mind that we're talking about the preparation that we read in chapter 37, verses 1 and 2. We read that told us that the ground has to be prepared before the corn can grow. The furnace has to be prepared before the porcelain can be made. So it's telling us these things. Now we just read here that Jesus came, and before that he had to be the path had to be prepared by John the Baptist for him to bring that into place. All right. So we're dealing with that preparation, you know. And then now we're going to read chapter 3, and that is right across from me, next page, and it is number 2. I'm going to read. It said, "No man live unto himself, for every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing." So, being bound by a cord means that there is a direct tie. Being bound by a cord means that there is a direct tie to every other living thing. Let's give an example. Let's say you exist here. There's nothing green. There's no other little critters running around. What you gonna eat? You're gonna die. So you bound by cords. So if the rain don't come down and feed the grass and the grass grow, how you gonna plant food to eat? So I'm directly tied to that rain. It's important. So we tied by cords to these things, so that we have a symbiote relationship with the things around us. Do everybody know what I mean by symbiote? We living off each other. It's living off us. This planet is living off us. We're living off it. So the people are living off you. You living off the people, you know. So when you get a mind of independence, or you're independent from everything, you are the furthest thing away from Allah. You are the furthest thing away from the people. You are in manifest error if you claim to be independent. Islam? Anybody not get that? Now, I can say this to you now, and you can hear it, and it'll sink in. Why? Because you have been divinely prepared. Ramadan, that fast, has cleansed you and calmed you and brought about peace. So it prepared you to be able to hear these things that we're speaking about today. You know? So it's saying that every man and everything is bound by cords. Islam. So we're going to go on to we're in the same chapter. We're going to read briefly 22 and 23 of that same chapter. That's right at the end. If man would find his Savior, he must look within. And when the demon self has been dethroned, the Savior love will be exalted to the throne of power. So it's saying that if you were to have a Savior, you would have to look inside, deep inside of yourself. And then the Savior love will be exalted. That's where you'll find it at, is inside. But this next one gives you a little bit more clarity. It says the David of the light. If everybody familiar with, in the Bible, there's a story about David and Goliath. Everybody familiar with that? David, small, Goliath, obviously, like his name is sounding big. And he gets a rock and slings it, and with one hit, takes him down. He slew Goliath. So David took down Goliath when many was terrified of Goliath. You know, he took him down. So and it's saying here that the David of the life is purity. So that thing that'll come out of nowhere and slay your biggest foe with one blow is purity. Wow. So purity. And we're going to get a clarity of purity before we end today. He said, and it said, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks the Savior love upon the throne? So once purity is maintained, now you can hear all of these things about love. But an impure vessel cannot hold love. It holds derivatives of it. And it's compartmentalized. Love is open and wide and vast. It has no limits. It has no desires. It has no aspirations. It is everything that you are. That's love. It came from when you had not flesh and continued on until you manifested in the flesh. Love existed without the parameters of these bodies. So you can't say, I love my child because I had my child. That's what love is. That's the greatest example of love. No, it's not. You missed it. Well before then, love is. And it's that symbiote relationship that brings about true love. The symbiote relationship with all these things outside of us. Our desire to want to bring things to in a holistic capacity instead of individual and independent. Islam? Anybody got anything to add to that? You got it. And I know I'm kind of moving, but I want to get this out, and it's more of me giving out information than we do our normal thing. And I'm glad everybody's being patient with me, but I think it's very important that we get this out while we're able to hear it. It's not while we're able to hear it very clearly. And so we're going to add on to the things that we just were doing with preparation. We're talking about the world being ready. We're talking about the symbiote relationship, that all things are tied by cords. We went on to the what exactly is independent is furthest thing away from that symbiote relationship, and love being exalted, and the David of the light, the purity that we can beat our greatest foe with purity. All right, and that's what brings us able to contain and house love. Islam. Then we're gonna go on to chapter 5. All right, we'll go to chapter 5, and it is just one page. You flip over, you'll see on page 10, and I'm gonna read 1 through 9. The great feast of the Pasch was ended, and the Nazareth were journeying toward their homes. And they were in Samaria. And Mary said, where is my son? No one had seen the boy. And Joseph sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had not seen him. They had seen him not. Then Joseph, Mary, and his son Zebedee returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but could find him not. And Mary asked the guards, had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old? The guard replied, yes, he is in the temple, now disputing with the doctors of the law. And they went in and found him as the guards had said. And Mary said, why, Jesus? Why do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We feared that some great harm had overtaken you. And Jesus said, do you not know that I must be about my Father's work? So what is his Father's work? He said he must be about his Father's work. We read earlier, we gave a key earlier when we said what the purpose is. He said when what is ready?
The world.
Right. So what is Jesus' purpose? What is he doing?
Preparing.
Yes, he's out here preparing the world. So he's talking to these men of renown about law. He's disputing with them at the age of 12 about law. Why? To prepare them for what's coming. You see? So they need purity. They have to be pure. They concepts in mind that has to be pure. Like if a person think, hey, I'm gonna die, that's the end of me. See, that's an impure thought, and he won't be able to hear anything that's gonna be able to teach him what he need to know to save himself. You see, because there's impurities inside of him that won't allow it to happen, because he won't accept that he can live forever. He won't accept that because he believes that the only part of him is his body and that it's gonna die and then it's over with. Nothing can stop this body from dying. It's gonna be over. So he can't perceive it. Why? Because of this impurity. So the pureness of thought is what we have to project. We have to promote. So Jesus is going in to these grown men to provide for them some purity of thought so that they would be able to raise themselves to a higher station, because at the point they are now, they're stagnant. It's not gonna go. So any of the people without pure thought, purity in thought, is stagnant. Okay? So we want to. So Jesus is out doing the preparation. It's not. So this is another indication of preparing things to come to pass and what we must do to prepare things to come to pass. Now, we're going to go to chapter 8. Now that's just flip the page one more again. One more again. But my English professor ain't going to say nothing today?
No.
Nope. So we got.
You said it for me.
we chapter 8. We're going to read 9 through 14, right? In chapter 8, 9. And Jesus said, the holy breath cannot be seen with mortal eyes, nor can man see the spirit of the Holy One. But in their image man was made, and he who looks unto the face of man looks at the image of Allah, who speaks within. And when man honors man, he honors Allah. And what man does for man, he does for Allah. So, did I leave anybody yet? So when you do something for me, you're doing it for Allah. When I do something for you, I'm doing it for Allah. So when I do something for the greater good, I'm doing it for Allah. So where is Allah? In the midst of us, he will always be. All the time. That's where we at. You know? So that is Allah. It's the vastness of all of the things. By the will of Allah, it continues on. So let us will things to be in its proper manner. So, and it says here, and when man honors man, he honors Allah. And what man does for man, he does for Allah. And you must bear in mind that when man harms in thought or word or deed another man, he does wrong to Allah. So it said when you hurt, when you harm in what? When you harm in what, it says right there? When you harm in what? No, number 12. In what? In thought. So that answers the question to, if you, a lot of people have a problem with this, and I'm gonna go a little bit off topic. It's a little pet peeve. People figure that if I don't mention something, I'm not lying. That if I don't say it, then I didn't lie. I know what you're asking me, and I got the answer. However, you didn't ask me specifically that question. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't bring it up. So I'll let you go on misguided. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lie by omission. You know, why? What's the thought? He didn't quite ask me, so I ain't telling her. Let him go. She ain't quite asked me, so I ain't telling her. You know, like you meet a woman and you're talking to her, and you say, well, you know, how you doing? You know, well, I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for a relationship too. Now you know that the woman probably want to know if you got another significant other, but well, she didn't ask. So, you know what I mean? So you know that you're in some murky thing. So in thought, we can harm each other, and in that instance, we trying to harm Allah, which is a terrible thing. We harm our own selves. Islam. So we harm in thought or word or deed another man. He does a wrong to Allah. So in thought or word or deed, right? So if you would serve Allah who speaks within the heart, to serve your near of kin and those who are no kin, the stranger at your gate, and the foe who seeks to harm you. Assist the poor and help the weak. Do harm to none and covet not what is not yours. So what is Jesus? This is Jesus speaking to a group of people. What is he doing for those people? He's preparing them. He's preparing them for these things. He's giving them an example of things not to do and why not to do them and how to do the right thing. So that is here now, you know. But those people, even though he's saying that, if they are not properly prepared, then they're not going to go. So people that are supposed to be in higher esteem, they spend their time studying law and studying other things. They have a base level of reasoning that they have to be done, so they prepare to hear it. They're not just on what somebody said or what was given to them. So it's a harder time when you're dealing with the general masses who just believe in folklore or believe in what their mother's or father told them. For instance, a lady was telling me about a chicken that she would put a chicken, the mother would cook the whole chicken. And every time she put the chicken in there, she would cut the little tail part off. You know what I'm talking about? On the whole chicken, she would cut that off there and put it in the pot. So the daughter, who she was now teaching how to do it, said, "Why do you cut that part off there?" She said, "I don't know. It's probably bad for you or harmful. So you got to cut it off." She said, "Okay." So it made her think. So she called her mother, and her mother said that her mother cut it off. Well, their mother was alive, so they called her and asked her. She said, "No, it's just so that it would fit in the pot." You know, so that was the thing. So we have to be prepared to fight just folklore or just something that people are doing because they've been told. And when you get to religious matters or spiritual matters, a lot of times that's what we're dealing with. But when you're dealing with people that's well read or well versed, you can converse back, and it's easier to try to bring them to a realistic approach to something logically. Islam, and that's not meaning that all of them gonna go there. That's at least you can get them to that point. So that's another expression of preparation. Now we're gonna go to chapter 10, which is I turn the page once, twice, and we're on page 16. And we're going to read through 11 through 25. A lawyer said, "I pray to Jesus, tell who is this Allah you speak about? Where are his priests, his temples, his shrines?" And Jesus said, "The Allah I speak about is everywhere." Where's Allah? Everywhere. You know? He cannot be compassed with walls, nor hedges about his bounds of any kind. All people worship Allah, the one, but all the people see him not alike. This universal law is wisdom, will, and love. All men see not the triune Allah. One sees him as a law of might, another as a law of thought, another as a law of love. A man's ideal is his God, and so as man unfolds, his God unfolds. Man's God today, tomorrow is not God. The nations of the earth see Allah from different points of view, and so he does not seem the same to everyone. Man names the part of Allah he sees, and this to him is all of Allah. And every nation sees a part of Allah, and every nation has a name for Allah. Your Brahmas call him Per Abram. In Egypt, he is Trump. And Zeus, he is named in Greece. Jehovah is Hebrew. But everywhere he is the causeless cause, the rootless root from which all things have grown. When men are afraid of Allah and take him for a foe, they dress up other men in fancy garb and call them priests. and charged them to restrain the wrath of Allah by prayers. And when they failed to win his favor by their prayers, to buy him off with sacrifice of animals and birds. When man sees Allah as one with him, as Father-in-law, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. He goes straight up to him and says, "My Father God Allah." And then he lays his hand in Allah's own hand, and all is well. And this is Allah. You are each one a priest just for yourself, and sacrifice of blood Allah does not want. Just give your life in sacrificial service to all of life, and Allah is pleased. Islam? What do we get out of that? Anybody? We ain't seeing nothing.
Well, what I said, you don't necessarily have to feel like attached to like the teachings of like the thing that has a like having actual relationship.
Islam. Anybody else? Somebody tell me something. Let me start calling. Sister right here, a nice looking sister with the
Ain't answering.
sister that ain't answering, and she can do that. See, we stressed over a vast array of things. She got anybody else? The brother in the back. My young brother is always on time. Always making sure he gets some stuff done. He come in with some stuff in his hand every time. You know, don't come at the end. What you got? Talk to us. What do you think about that reading?
I like it.
You like it? Well, that's good. So we got anybody else want to say anything?
No, I'll say something.
Okay.
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
It's a lot to think about, even more so because we are open at this time than it probably would have been if it just, I mean, how many times have we gone over the same things and then they don't actually have the same resonance with us at those times as it does today?
Yes, indeed. That fasting changes things. It changes things. This is prayer changes things. But you know, that's a very important thing. And that's in chapter 10, 11 through 25 is what we read. To say that when man sees Allah as one with him, as Father-in-law, he needs no middleman, no priest to intercede. So he says, when you have your mindset, when you reach this point of purity, you see yourself in equality to all the things that exist. You know, I'm not lower than anything. I'm not higher than anything. I'm a part of everything. And I'm just doing my part. I don't have a better part. You know what I'm saying? So if I had one foot, that means everything else is better? No, it's best with both feet. You know, so we don't need someone to convince us that somebody's going to come and save us. What we need is someone to guide us towards how do we save ourselves, because inside of us is the answer. Islam, inside of us is the answer. So we have that. So
We'll want to listen to the inside.
you will just keep trying. Just keep trying. You will. That's your guaranteed success. We read in chapter 1 last week that there is no failure for the human soul. It marches on. It marches on to success because Allah leads the way. Islam. We follow Allah, we guarantee success. So we move on to that, and like I said, we only ask for your very best here. That's all we ask for is your very best. I can say, hey, give me a little bit. No, I would rather have your very best. What would you rather give, just a little or your very best? Very best? Y'all don't want to answer that. Y'all don't want to answer that?
Okay.
Very best.
Exactly.
See, you didn't leave me alone. You wanted me to stay.
So we have that. So we want to have that. And now, so we come to Ramadan. So Ramadan does a particular thing. It prepares us to be able to hear these things. And these things are a gift to us that we can hear. But the things that we cannot hear is not a gift. We cannot. We can't hear it. And what is it that we must hear? What is that? You know, so and that is that you are your savior. You are your savior. So when you sit there and think I shouldn't do this, don't think something else is gonna come and say, girl, don't do it. Or what do? Ain't nothing gonna be louder than you inside your own head. So ain't nothing else gonna come and convince you. I can come from outside of you saying, girl, man, listen, you don't want to do it, go on. I'm going about my business. How many times you don't spend your cousin or your homegirl, your homeboy to go do what you want to do because you knew they didn't want to do it? You don't spend them. Yeah, they ain't gonna be wanting to hang out. You know, or I used to be terrible when they go out, I don't want them to go because I may not come back home. And they always talking about coming back. They got to get back home. I got to do this. No, I don't got to get back home. I'm hanging till the wheels fall off. That's me. So, you know, so I knew how to get rid of them, you know, but that was in my own head though. You know, so can't nobody tell me something stronger or better than my own self. So I am my savior. You can guide me, but I have to come to that resolution deep within inside myself. And I have to come out with it, not in, out. So we all have to come out with it because the world is benefiting from us and our righteous deeds, thoughts. He said, even our thoughts, he said, right? Not just our deeds, but our thoughts about that wrong thing we want to do. You know, so you think you cool when you don't made it. You know, I would just tee off on them. But now I just really think about teeing off on them and I don't. You know, still got a little work left. Still got a little work left. That 2 pieces of beef, real nice right now to my boss. Yeah. No, you still got a little work. You know, we're gonna work on that. And so we don't. So we are our own savior. That's what we're here to hear today. We're here to hear that. We don't lie. Don't lie. Why? Why should you just not lie? Anybody on that? It should be all kind of hands jumping up.
False. It's wrong. It's just you just shouldn't do it. It's unnecessary.
And it's gonna ultimately bring you some stress.
Yes.
It ain't necessary. It just ain't necessary. Deal with now. Quit worrying about the future and the past. Now is where we at. Islam?
That's right.
So you know, if I gotta deal with that again later on, that's wasting energy. You know, I know you about to be disappointed, but let me tell you. That's just the way it works out. Islam. So okay, don't steal. Okay, don't be stealing stuff. You can't steal stuff, and don't try to make no big old reason why you stole somebody's pen. Or you know what I mean? Don't make no big old excuse or this elaborate way around the fact that you're stealing somebody's choice when you lie. That's stealing. They can't make the decision they're gonna make because you withheld information on purpose. Right? Knew they were searching for the information to make a decision, but you decided, I ain't even getting in that. You know, should I get back with her? You know what I'm saying? Well, no, I just seen her last night, or I don't know who tongue with who's in who mouth. So you might know stuff will lie. But you know, certain information is information. You can't do nothing about it. You know, I used to run around with my friends, and I was never too much guilty of that. Like, don't use me with your wife or your girlfriend to say you was with me, because don't put me in it, because I'm gonna say I ain't got nothing to do with it. Don't put me in it because she mad at me. If you go over some of your friends, you ain't never did that, and the person just looks snotty and upset with you all the time. You trying to figure out, why is she upset with me? You trying to be nice and everything? That person, they was with you every time they came in at 3, 4 in the morning. They was with you. You know what I'm saying? So they mad at you when you was at home sleep. They using you as a scapegoat, or she using you as a scapegoat. You know, y'all know how this goes. So we don't want to lie. We don't want to steal. Now we coming to the doozy, because this is the time of Ramadan. Purity has taken hold, but it's fleshing us out. It's flushing us out. We got to hear. So we want these particular ones to reign supreme, because they take us down the road we don't need to go down. Fornication. Yes. You can hear that now. Why you laugh?
Yes.
She laughed because she's married. So she's good. You know what I'm saying? The other of us are not good. Fornication is a terrible thing. It is the beginning of the downgrade. That's we take our steps down as we begin this fornication. No commitment, just random sex, happily having. Hey, how you doing? You don't got a woman? No, I ain't got a woman. Hey, you got a man? No, I ain't got a man. Hey, let's do it. Let's have at it. You know what I'm saying? It's just the same as being married. No, it ain't the same. There's a commitment involved. That means you got to go get a license downtown? No, it don't. You can get married at this temple. You can get married at a church. You can get married with a whole bunch of people that know y'all. Because it's a commitment. It's a level of commitment that's unlike the other commitments. That's why we don't make it. We don't make it too randomly, you know? So that's what it is. So fornication is something that we can hear now, and it can sink in purity into our soul, into our root, so that we can know that it is not a thing that's becoming, you know? Adultery. It is the same thing. So we can't commit adultery. We can't be out married. And I got a boo on the side, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's my boo thing on the side. No. You know, but we can't hear that if purity is not set forth. Why? Because the world around us is too loud. And it's telling us. So we have to fast during the month of Ramadan. We can hear these things. It's easy for us to hear them and decide if we're going to embody them. You know, so do I say this? So say this to give anybody any kind of heartache or pain? No, you shouldn't even feel any because of Ramadan, the purified of you. It gives you an advantage, you know. So have no sorrow. Have no sorrow about the past, you know, because we headed on forward now. We in the now. I haven't done anything now, ever. And my Savior is within inside of me. So I have no sorrow about that because I'm dealing with now. So if I stay compassionate about now, I won't have these issues or concerns about fornicating, adultery, lying, and stealing because I'm dealing with now. Is this the last thing that I want to say and do? Do I want to be represented by this last act or this last thought? Is that what I want? No, I don't. I want now. I want now to be good. So let me do the best I can now. And the closer you get to acting upon now, the better the world gets. If you keep talking about the past, the worse off the world is. If you talk about the future, they ain't never going to get there. But right now, if we talk about right now, we are prepared for right now. That's how we got right here. We prepared for right now. So we make the decision right now to do the thing that we know that is good. It's going to be advantageous for us. So there's no sorrow in that. There's no sorrow in the past. The sorrow is when I say, you know what, I should do that, but you know what? Man, I ain't doing that. She looked mighty good. Look mighty good. Look mighty good right now. You know, so, you know. So we want to have that in mind. Now, does anybody have anything they want to say in relationship to the things that we're able to hear, things that we're ready to receive?
No question.
Go ahead, sister.
So, okay, we're ready to hear these things. We're ready to receive them. We're in Ramadan, you know, we're preparing ourselves, and then Ramadan ends. And then what?
You won't be able to forget now. The purity of Ramadan is continuous. You may make bad decisions, but you won't forget. So that's why we pray. We prayed to Allah in the last 10 days that we will be delivered from the hellfire. What is the hellfire? What is hell on earth? That is the impurity. That is the impurity. So all those thoughts that are not pure don't allow for love to take heed. So you can't love me. You can't prepare yourself to deal with all of society. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you're doing. You're creating hell with impurities, with thoughts that say, hey, you know, guess what? When you die, it's all over with. You just came together as a happenstance. So, you know, all those thoughts is going to lead you away from the truth. So that's what hell is. That's how hell is developed. That's why it's right here on earth, because that's where you at. When you leave, you be leaving it. But some people can't leave it. Why? Because they're attached to it. They say, no, there's nothing else. That's all I got. So until we prepare the way, the person is basically doomed. Who put them in hell? Their own self. Who gets you out of hell? Your own self. You have to open up to the reality of truth and the reality of knowing the things that you are created out of and what those things mean and how they operate, what you're drawn to, where the compassion is. And with that, we're going to read in chapter 37. That's the chapter that we started in. Number 10 and 11, and we're going to close after that. It says, keep thy soul in moderation. Teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. This is in response also to the last question. So during this time of Ramadan, that's what's happening. You are aware of your body and your soul, and you're aware of the things that it want to do, and you're resisting them. And then the things that it do is good, you aptly reward your body quickly. When it's time to stop fasting, you reward your body with those things that it desires, food. And it realizes that's what? It is very satisfied with even the most simplest of meals. The body is very satisfied. Water, I tell you, I wanted to test it out. I drank some tap water. I don't drink tap water. Right after my fast, best water I ever tasted. It must be blessed or something going on. I can't understand it. Whatever I eat right after I finish fast, it's the best thing I've eaten. Ever. So I ate some food and it was good. I was smashing it. Later on, about 2 hours later, let me eat the rest of that because I ain't gonna want to eat it. I'm gonna waste it. I need some pepper and some salt and some, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't as good anymore. I don't know what happened. But right after that fast, we break that fast each day, it's on. It's on and popping. Just like that. So be attentive to its good. So shall these, its ministers, be always to the conveyance of truth. So the ministers of our truth, of our spirit, as we minister into our own spirit, we are the conveyors of truth. You know what I'm saying? We convey unto each people these truths in our actions and thoughts and deeds. So that's what we're doing out here. That's what we're doing. We are those, you know what I'm saying? We doing this in moderation. So, when it's time to eat, you don't really need a gigantic meal. In moderation, you be satisfied with something small. And your soul and your body realizes it. And it's very satisfied, isn't it? So what is it that takes you to that extreme? It surely isn't just your body and your soul. You in there, not causing it to be moderated. And it says, thine hand is not a miracle. Thy hand, is it not a miracle? Is there in the creation aught like unto it? Wherefore was it given thee, but that thou mightest stretch it out to assistance of thy brother. So there's no other creature with this. They don't have this. They got some way down here type of situation that's close to a hand, but they don't have this ability. Dexterity that you have with your fingers is one of a kind as a human. So he's saying, this is an amazing thing. What is it if it's not a miracle? You see? So poor baby almost went to sleep. What is that for? Just so you can pick something up better and get it in your mouth? No, but come to the assistance of your brother or your sister or the society as a whole. So that's what we're here to do. And through the month of Ramadan, we are adequately prepared. But purity is the way. If we want the things that are good and divine in life, we must purify ourselves. If I want a good woman, I have to be a good man. If I'm not a good man, I'm sitting there lying to her, it's gonna come out. And then I'm gonna have heartache. Because divorce is gonna occur. It's gonna be. And she won't have. No, I'm just playing. but
Three-quarters.
the 3/4, he wants 3/4 now. Sisters don't grow up. So
Sent you a bill.
right, you know. So we want those things. Let us purify ourselves because we have the ability to do so now. You know, and that means all the things that we do, we gonna somehow just abruptly stop and it's going probably not. But we can do one thing through this Ramadan. We can work on the rest on the next, or throughout the year we can work on it, getting better. Because one thing for sure, the people that prepare for Ramadan did a better job than the people that did not. You see?
Islam, this is the first year I prepared.
Right.
And I knew it was coming every year, but this year I made a conscious effort to prepare starting like maybe a week or two in advance, where getting my thoughts together, thinking about what do I want to, and it's kind of weird, you don't want to say come out with on the other side, but it is
Right.
kind of like come out with on the other side. I'm going in like this, and what do I want to manifest and be like when I exit the other side? What do I want to carry forward into the next year?
So-
There's been some temptations, but
Right, and you prepare, like knowing what you're gonna eat, what you're gonna buy to get prepared to eat that early in the morning. Because I'm not gonna be up cooking that long. I need it quick. And so I think these boiled eggs is gonna work real well. You know what I'm saying?
scrambled eggs with
Right.
cheese.
Something, and then I gotta clean the pot out, all that stuff before I get this stuff. Boil it, that pot's easy, you know? But yeah, so all of that is preparation, you know? And you'll find, like I said, the people that prepared for it done a great job. It's a lot easier for you because you made preparation. And even when you say, hey, I'm at work, and you tell the people at work, okay, Ramadan is coming. This is a very important time in my life every year, you know, and you don't have to go in too deep because they already know what Ramadan is. The majority, 90% of people you talk to already know what Ramadan is. If you fast and you tell some, you don't even got to tell them. They just need to know you Muslim. And they'd be like, I thought you said you was Muslim. You ain't fasting? Why are you not fasting? And I ain't seen this, and I ain't seen, they know your business better than you know it, and go tell it to you, you know, and act like they don't know nothing, but they do. They keep an eye on you Muslims, I tell you that. So we want to prepare for it, so we can tell our bosses, hey, you know, I got to be gone on Friday, definitely through this month of Ramadan. And Sundays, I can't work no Sundays because I got to be at class. And and I got to leave for Friday for an hour and I'll be back if you still need me, but I can't do it. I gotta adhere to this thing for this fast through the month of Ramadan. So that's preparation. We're preparing ourselves for it, you know. Anything else that we want to get during that time, we just prepare for it. So that's what we want to do. So in closing with that, I want to say that, so that's our last 10 days. We're in our last 10 days. And we want to be able to finish strong, and we want to be able to know that we have something to work forward to after Ramadan. We want to be able to start this year off in a strong sense and get going. Now, life sometimes has a way of beating us up as we get back around the curve. 6-7 months from now, we start doing a little bit slipping, and some of us get stronger as we go. You know, we wear ourselves thin and we get stronger and come around to Ramadan. But everybody's different. But like I said, there's no sorrow in now because we have adequate information to be successful. So why be sorrowful? Islam?
Islam.
So be grateful. We have this information we've been given, and that you can hear it. You can hear it without animosity, without that sorrow. You know, that I can do better. I will do better. You know, and that's what we do. We work on that. Islam? Anybody got anything for us to close with? Because we ask for the very best. That's all we ask. As Moors, we ask for the very best. That's it. That's all we want.
Islam, I have something that I want to say to everyone.
Mhm.
May Allah remove all of your pains, worries, and bring you to the greatest happiness in this life and eternal happiness in the hereafter.
Islam. That's a wonderful thing. And we are grateful that everybody was able to attend. We're grateful for everybody that's online here attending. And as usual, if there are any questions, you can text, email, or call any of the numbers you have handy. this would be able to show you definitely the email address. But yes, somebody. No. You know. So and then with that, we'll close out. Thank you for attending.